we all felt uncomfortable to get to where we are. And a lot of that comes from like all the three factors that we just talked about, like decision making, feeling uncomfortable, feeling scared, learning something new, doing something new.
Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer. Well, welcome to Impactful Engineering. I'm here with Jake and kick-ass product manager with an engineering degree, Sharon Cho. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining. I worked with Sharon for a little while at my current company, and we connected pretty fast. Mostly started out with fitness and exercising and all that good stuff. But discussions diverted from fitness to engineering topics to career growth, et cetera, and we had to get her on the show. So Sharon, can you start with sharing a little bit about your past?
Absolutely. So my name is Sharon Cho. I have a mechanical engineering degree. I started out not really knowing what I wanted to do, but I knew I loved math and science. So, and I had to get into something that led me to a job because I have to pay the bills. And after that, I got into engineering, did multiple internships, got into the oil and gas industry. And quickly, not only did I realize, but my mentors and managers realized that I wasn't someone who could just sit still, let's say, who can just sit behind a computer and work on a given project one at a time. I wanted to work on multiple different things and understand the overall business structure. So that led me into more of a project management than product management, because ultimately what the company's trying to do is build a product, sell a product, promote their product. It all has to do with physical products because I worked in a manufacturing industry. Then it led me into where I am now, which I did work with Steve, and I'm in the process of changing my company to something new, and still in product management, and just wanting to keep going in this direction.
Okay. So what gives you the most fulfillment out of your new role? Because most engineers, they come out of school, they're very design oriented. They are, this is mechanical engineers at least. They want to create physical products that they can see on the shelf, and but do the analysis, do the CAD modeling, etc., like that. So what kind of transitioned you away from that realm of engineering?
And you're absolutely right. I see a lot of engineers wanting to continue to go in that direction. They want to own the design. They want to be someone who has their name on a patent, who can point their finger into a product that's displayed on a retail store or on a website and say that that's what I worked on. But for me, I don't thrive or I don't feel fulfilled just knowing that I was part of the design process. I feel fulfilled working with different teams and gluing their informations together. As in, if I take the technical background that I have, which I learned from having the engineering degree and being working as an engineer, and going to manufacturing and translate that information to what they want to hear, how they hear it, go to supply chain, translate that information from technical realm to more of a supply chain sourcing procurement realm, and going to industrial design teams and sales teams and marketing teams. And what I notice is a lot of the teams have their depth knowledge but don't understand the breadth and how to glue information. And that's where I feel fulfilled because they don't see that. At first, I thought, oh, this is not a skill. Anybody can do this. Anybody would love to do this. Why wouldn't they? Then I realized, no, that really isn't the case. They like being part of that one team and having their own responsibility, while my responsibility comes from working with multiple teams that understand all of their backgrounds and finding solutions based on what everybody else is telling me. And I feel so fulfilled and grateful when I can bring that solution by working with multiple than just one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So,
feel
oh,
like
good.
people that go through, sorry, Steve, that go through school and a typical 4-year degree at a university would never really know that that's available to them, and it's probably just hiding within them, right? When they get into industry and they start working and designing products, and they're like, oh yeah, there has to be a way to merge all these different sectors together to actually get this product created and then sold, marketed. The business has to make money, all that stuff, right? And so they go in thinking, all right, I went to school, I'm really good at design, I know all the theory behind all this stuff, and then they see this whole new world, right? And so that's kind of what is great about having you on, is that you can bring that world right to, say, if people that are listening are still going through school, or they're entry-level engineers, they know now that that's available to them. And if that's within you, like, you'll feel it pretty quick, right? You'll be like, oh yeah, I really want to, I'm good at the technical stuff, and maybe I should spend some time really developing that. But then there's all these other parts and pieces that I could be a part of and bring together. And if I understand those, that's kind of where the real meat of it happens. That's where the magic happens, you know? So that's really cool.
Right, exactly. I was just waiting for Steve to talk.
No,
If you didn't get a
no,
chance
go
to.
ahead.
But that's exactly it. I want the engineers to know that they're not stuck. Like, I've seen engineers go into sourcing. I honestly have seen engineers go into human resources. It's just that because they have the technical background, it gives them the credibility to any recruiters or any hiring managers that, okay, if they have this technical background, then I don't have to spend so much effort and teaching them how to understand the technicality behind the products. But then all the hiring managers have to do is just show them the processes, the people, and I feel like those things, it can be taught. So having that engineering background does open up a lot of doors. I mean, for me, for example, when in the oil and gas industry, and even in the new job that I'm going towards, which is in the water boiling and water heating industry, they don't hire PMs if they do not have engineering background. They want them to be very, very strong in technicality and understand how things are manufactured, understand how you can communicate with the engineers, because that's the starting point. And then
Right.
after that, they can push the process and push the products to the next teams that comes afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you can come out of school with a little bit of that too, I mean, that's a huge advantage. With a little bit of those soft skills and how to talk to people
Exactly.
and all that stuff.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the schools really don't push the soft skills.
Mm-mm.
Right.
You know, you are hammered on the theory, the technical side of the education, but like, you don't even know how to balance your checkbook coming out of high school. You don't know how to talk to people, to do presentations, or call up a vendor overseas and learn how they communicate. So
Yeah, real world stuff.
yeah, real world stuff. So for the up and coming engineers who might be interested in this kind of field, what sort of like top 3 skill sets do you think would really push them over the edge in transitioning from a just technical oriented engineering program to more broad product management?
That's a good question that no one asked me. I think I've done 10 plus interviews so far in my 5-year career, and nobody ever asked me, it's like, why do you want to be in product manager? Or what are the top 3 skills? But I'm not sure about top 3 skills, but top 3 things that they must do. It's critical part of product management, I think, more than any other teams that they'll work on, is that they need to listen. Because if you're in one team, if you're in engineering, if you're in manufacturing, if you're in marketing, you have that depth knowledge. In that T spectrum, they have that depth. But as a PM, you need to understand not just the depth, but the breadth of every team. Meaning, the only way that individual, or for myself to pick that up in every company all across, is listen. Because the core values of product management is ultimately the same in whichever company you go to. You have to move products along the way. However, what all the PMs may not understand is that you need to listen and understand this team in this specific company's skill. As in, the supply chain team, the marketing team may be running very differently in terms of process than other companies I've worked for. And the only way I'm going to ever know how to work with them, how to ask smart questions, is listen. Listen how they do things currently. Don't try to change everything, because if it's working, they're not going to fix it, and they're not going to be willing to fix it anyway. And that's also a way to earn respect and earn credibility for myself. If I don't listen and try to understand them and try to talk in their ways, they're just going to look at me as an outsider and say, go away. I don't want to work with you. So the number one skill is listening.
Yeah,
And
and
go
I
ahead.
would, and sorry to interrupt, but I think listening with intent is also something that is important. Most people will listen, and as they're listening, they're like, okay, how am I going to respond to this? How am I going to add to the conversation? But actually listening to the meat of what they're hearing from the other person and responding immediately after they're finished communicating what they're communicating. So I think listening is a very important skill set, but listening in with intent even takes it a step further.
It takes a lot of practice to do
does.
that too. So you're sitting there formulating your response as they're talking, missing the whole point of what they're saying, right? And it takes a lot of practice, because if I'm going to listen, and I kind of like shifted myself and I was like, oh, and then I grabbed a notebook because I had some thoughts, but I wanted to just jot it down real quick and then return.
Exactly.
Right. And so do it often. And so what I would say at this point is, how do you do that often? Well, you can definitely create your own interactions with a bunch of the team members in your company through your own efforts of making that interaction happen. It doesn't have to come because you happen to be working with this person, or that's a great opportunity. If you happen to get introduced to somebody new for one little piece of the project, then you got your window, you got your opportunity. You're like, yeah, okay. So let's start talking about sports. Let's start talking about what do you do on the weekend. Let's start talking about all these things and open up that porosity is a term that I got from the book that I'm reading, but open up that willingness to give each other information, even on the personal level. And it develops that relationship so well. So, but the point of that is take advantage of the interactions that you're going to have, but also try and create some. Say, hey, notice we've never really met before. Would love to have a 5-minute chat. Just get to know you a little better. Let me know if you got time. And that's a Slack, Teams, whatever message, email, whatever you want. But just get in, right? And then when they start telling you stuff, then shut up and start listening. And then really listen. Like, get in there and listen. And then you'll find that you're like, you got 10% of the stuff. Okay, that was pretty good. Okay, next time you got 20%, then you got 30%. It's just reps, man. Just keep doing the reps.
Yep.
And then you'll get so good at it that you can listen really intently and get everything they said. Subconsciously, just in the background, you're generating questions. And then when they're done, they're like, you go, wow, that's really interesting that you said this, and then questions just start popping into your head. For me, I've still got to use my notebook, right? So I wanted to listen, but I wanted to interject and say the how. So get the reps. Right?
Yep.
So Steve and Jake, you just mentioned two really good points, is that one is intent and two is the willingness. And the intent of listening, like what is that definition of intent, and what does it mean by the willingness to listen? And I read this from a book years ago. I don't remember which book it was, but listening with intent is giving that person acknowledgement that their opinion can change the decision that you're going to make. As in,
Yes.
if the person wanted to go in a certain way, but as a PM who ultimately is a decision maker, may have to say, no, that's not the way I'm going to take it. Sorry, but the way I say it should never be just the way I said it, which is, no, we're not going to do that. Give them explanation, tell them and show them I took time to take consideration. The key word is consider, that I've really, really considered to take your approach and do it your way, but it just didn't go that way for X, Y, and Z reasons. And that can only come from listening, and listening can, lead to all of that and building that relationship and giving them understanding that, hey, like, I did really want to take it your way. And that goes such a long way. You don't want to be a dictator. Like, if you don't listen with intent and you don't have the willingness to change your decision based on the input that they're giving, you will end up as dictator and you will not get along with everyone, and which is the key factor of being a good PM. You have to get along with everyone. We're not robots, and we can't always be black and white.
Okay, I thought of an example, and let me give you one. I used to, just a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I worked at a company. I came into the meeting, right? The head boss guy called the meeting. I come in, we all sit down. I'm like, okay, cool. We're flipping through some drawings, and one of the architects is talking to him, saying, this, and really trying to explain her decision making. And the guy goes, no, no, okay. And then he starts talking to someone else. And I'm like, holy shit. This is like, and I'm like, was that a one-off thing? Did they just have like a fight before they got in here and he's just trying to do some payback, which is stupid anyway, but I'm like, or is this going to be the normal thing? Proceeded to go around the table and just completely berate everyone. And I was like, okay, yeah, I got to start looking for a new job. It's just, that's the difference. It's like, that's an extreme example, but, what makes you feel better? No. Or, you know what? I hear you on that. We have thought about that before, and I see how you got to that process, but I know what's on the other side of this because I've worked with this client a bunch. It's the wrong path to go on this one, so I suggest we start talking about this path. That is so much better than what he did. I mean, obviously that's extreme, but you get the point.
Oh yeah.
That takes me back to Steve, you asked for top three factors that makes you a good PM with engineering background. Is one was listening, and two, Jake just brought up that point, is recognize, acknowledge.
Yes.
A lot of the times a PM may drive the decision, may drive the process, but they always have to work with everyone. And in order to do that and make that process smooth, they have to give that recognition and they have to give that acknowledgement to someone else, because those individuals in different teams are the ones actually performing. I can say, I mean, Steve, you know this, at the job that I just left, which you're at right now, I may have this idea by doing this market research. And I go walk to the engineer's desk and say, hey, I would like for this feature to be edited. Well, they have to actually make that come true. And they have to do the actual physical changing. It's good that I have engineering background so I can determine how long it takes, understand the technical background that comes from changing one specific feature on a tool. But they are the ones that are executing. They're the ones that are performing. So when it comes to time for presentation, giving them recognition, giving that the acknowledgement to the upper management and the leadership team goes a really long way. Because it ultimately goes back to them, and it fires them up, it motivates them, it makes them want to work with me more, which is better for me, which is better for them. So listen and then get their input, but also give them the output, give them the recognition, give them the acknowledgement, which comes from Jake, what you were just saying at that big round table. It's like, I hear you, I understand you, I acknowledge you, I recognize what you're saying, but we're not going to go that route. Doesn't matter. You still verbally said it, that you gave that person the acknowledgement that they brought that point up, instead of, no, I did all of this. I have done it. And I have seen that. It was when I was an intern as engineering intern at a really big conglomerate company. Yeah. But it doesn't matter how big or small the company is. It really ultimately comes down to who I'm working for. And my boss's boss will come and just say, no, I did this. I was like, actually, no, you didn't. It was that engineer sitting over there who gave that idea and have done it, but he's the one presenting it to upper management. So he'll say, no, I did it. And he had a horrible reputation, and he's no longer with the company.
Yeah,
so that. Right. So that shows you that the accomplishment comes from everybody, and you have to give back.
Yeah. It's giving that ownership away. When there's a success in a program, even if you as you said, if you had the idea and the engineers implementing it, when there's a team setting or someone's, or the whole team is being praised for accomplishing, the product or the design feature or whichever, giving that engineer who did the work that recognition in a team setting will do wonders for not only their self-esteem, your relationship with them, but also their productivity. And so, it's a win-win for everyone. So giving away that ownership and never taking credit, but giving that credit is really what's key.
And Steve, the way we grew up, I'm just thinking, when I started hearing all this stuff and learning it, I'm just like, this is such horseshit. We did the stuff, we won. Bottom line, like, why is it my job to make you happy about it?
Yes.
Like, that's the kind of upbringing, that we had. It's just like, yeah, you just do it, and it's like, yeah, we had, it was 6 boys, right? We all lived together. we were all just growing up as boys and then men, and it's just like we totally missed the boat on a lot of this stuff, right? So, but it works, and it's just if it's a part of your daily routine to listen, do the recognition, and I'm sure we'll get to a great third skill here in a minute. You do those two things, you're way ahead, and it just builds camaraderie and it opens lanes of communication you never even knew were there, and then seriously, it will impact. Even if someone's deciding, hey, this might not be the company for me, maybe I'm going to go talk to these people. They'll have that in the back of their mind, and it will be an influence on the decisions that they make. So it's more than you know as an impact. So,
yes.
Yep.
So what's the third one?
What's the
I'm
third
anxious.
one?
Now you got to pull a third one out of the hat.
Man, I'm just going, all the pressure. So the third one, actually, I've been mentioning this. I've been just saying this word multiple times throughout our conversation is decision. That's the key difference I've realized that switched me from being engineer to a product manager. And I'm not saying engineers do not make this. That is not what I'm saying. Engineers absolutely make a decision. But as an engineer making decision, my decision was based on which I felt like was more comfortable, meaning it was black and white. It can't be quantified. I had facts and reasons behind why I'm making this, why I'm proposing this. But in the PM world, things are kind of gray sometimes. Sometimes I won't have all the market research. There are days when I walked up to, at the same company I used to work at with Steve, was that I walk up to the engineer and go, I'm really not sure if this is going to work, but 80% of the information that I've collected is telling me that this is going to work. So I'm just going to talk to the engineers like, it's going to work, but I'm going to take all of the responsibility. If it goes to crap, I will take the responsibility. I'll take the hit. But you know what? You're going to make it happen. So here you go. And so the third important factor is decision making.
Yeah.
80%'s pretty good.
Yeah, I would even
decision on 80% all day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would even go to say that it's not just decision; it's decisive or decisiveness. You know, like you have the ability to take in, as you were saying, that 80% of information and make a decision based on that, knowing that you're about 80% going to be correct. And so you take that risk because it's the classic 80-20 world, right? Where 80% of the effort will only take 20% of the time, but the last 20% will take 80% of the time. And so to reduce timelines, to reduce that length of decision-making process, you have to take what data is there and just be decisive and make a decision. And that kind of leads into, just doing the right thing and, making, if there's a decision that could go either way, one's, the correct, like the right way to do it in terms of, what's good for the company, what's good for the customer, which is even more important. And, what's good for the employees, or what is the easiest, you got to do what's right. So I think decisiveness is a key indicator of someone who will be not only a successful PM, but just a successful engineer in general.
Hey, my fellow impactful engineers. If there's one thing that you could do to help out this community, it's to keep listening to the podcast, but also that if you found value in it, to share it with one person, give us a 5-star review, or even leave a text review. It'll only take a few seconds of your time. Find that person that you think could enjoy some of this or learn from it, and pass on the good word. Now back to the show.
Yeah, that's great. And you can do this as that engineer that comes in thinking about just the technical role. You can do these things in your technical role, but be fair warned that people are going to notice that you're doing these things, and then you're going to start to be slated for management, right?
Yes.
Or leading or leadership or, whatever the next level is, which is a good thing too. So that's awesome. Just to recap, making that transition from just solely thinking about how to technically do the work, right, and where you fit, and then to the broader spectrum of the how does this whole process come together to create a desirable result, which is usually making a profit in your business so that you can continue to pay all your employees and thrive, and they can feed their families, right? So that's like the main goal. Listen is number one. Number two is recognize, and number three is be able to make decisions. Like, I think those are three great skills, and I'm glad you were able to just pull those out.
Yes, that's
upon
awesome.
request. I mean, those obviously you practice those a lot, right? And those are kind of on the top of your mind of these are really important. So
Right.
take it from someone who is actively doing the role now and has been pretty successful in it, right? If those come out, those are pretty important. So remember those.
Yeah, I did. I'm glad you noticed. I did pull this out of kind of like thin air, thinking, okay, what are the things that I do well, and what are the things that kept me going to continue to work in this role, and so far haven't gone fire. So I think that's a that's a really, and during my performance reviews, I haven't heard anything that was you're doing this absolutely horribly.
Right.
So I think that those are three key things that I've done well and kept myself going to keep my job, not get fired, as well as have a decent and pretty good performance reviews by my hiring manager. Is that I work well with people, and you're gonna have to make decisions. And all of that, all the people, and all of that comes from listening, acknowledging, and then making decisions. Take that responsibility. It's okay if you're gonna fail. That's all right. It's the decision that you made, and if it fails, it's okay. Just do better. Just do better. But don't leave that decision making onto someone else because you fear that it's going to go wrong. It comes with the job. You're gonna have to do it.
That's right. That's a great point. Is if you don't do it, then how are you going to learn to do it, right? So if you're just afraid of failing and not making the decision and passing that buck off to someone else, you're never going to get where you want to be and have that experience, right? Because you're just passing it off to the next guy. So don't
Exactly.
if you spend a few years in a company and you keep passing responsibility to people, don't be surprised that you go nowhere and that the people you pass the responsibility to get the raises.
Yeah.
So take it upon yourself, and you can do it at any pace you want, but eventually you want to be regularly participating in these things. So.
Right. And that also reminds me, I did meet a product manager from a couple of years ago, and she did not have the best reputation, and very great, a wonderful person. I mean, got along with everyone really well, had a mechanical engineering degree, got herself up to that position, but the issue was she couldn't make a decision. As in whenever that gray area happens in a big roundtable meetings where everyone from every functional team, all the leaders are sitting right there, and they can't make a decision because they can only provide pieces of information that they think it's best. But gluing that information, going back to that, gluing all the information together and drive the project forward, they looked at the PM. It's like, look, this you are the CEO of this product. That's how product manager looked upon. You go and make the decision. We all looked at her, and she just dodged the question back to the team, generally to engineering manager, because they have the technical background, so their decision is generally based on something that's black and white, so less likely to fail. Is my understanding of why she passed back to engineering manager, but it kind of got everybody confused because it's whatever that the PM wanted, but dodging that back, it kind of got everybody off track and didn't really know what else to do because the decision wasn't being made. So I've seen that happen where number one, number two, the listening, recognition all went really well with that PM, but that decision making and failing to do so, her reputation kind of didn't go as well as it could have been.
Right. And there's a whole lot of obviously context that we don't know, or happenings before that decision or after that, or whatever's she was going through in her career that we don't know. But the bottom line is that you have to be able to make that decision, right? So then you gotta start figuring out how to get rid of those things that are keeping you from making the decisions in a timely manner with the data that you have. And if you don't feel like you have all the data, there's no reason why you can't. You're not going to put it back on your engineers or everybody else on the team, but you're going to say and make it actionable and say, look, I can't make the decision quite yet. I think in a couple days I can. If you do this piece, you do this piece. I want to know a little bit about this. Bring it all to the next meeting. let's compile it, and then we're going to make a decision on this. That's okay. I mean, depending on your timeline and everything, but you can always ask, of course, the team to consider multiple options and present you with what they think is the best option. That's the great thing about being a manager, is like, you don't have to know all of the answers. You say, you give me this piece, this piece, this piece, bring it to me, and then I'll do my best to choose the best direction forward with your help.
And Jake, what you just said is the decision itself. Is that okay? So I can't make a final hard decision, but I'm deciding. What you just said, I'm deciding for everyone. Let's collect more data. Let's collect more information and come back to it. So that gives the team direction, which is exactly what they're looking for, and then it earns you respect because now you have decided for them and they're relying on you, and let's move forward with that, and we'll come back and regroup.
Yep.
And it is hard and scary. It really is. I mean, when I started in this job, I come from knowing all the black and white information, all the facts, everything can be quantified. Engineering role is no, this will work or this won't work. To oh my goodness, everything's so gray. Why is this so great? But that's just life. I mean, it just comes with, even at a company, you think everything's going to go wonderfully, but it really isn't. There are people, there are different processes, the issues are always so different. So it can be hard and it can be quite frightening, but understand that it's okay. Like, it's going to be just fine. There will be people that if you build a good relationship with, you can work together to amend that issue when
Yep.
you encounter it.
Yep. Get used to being uncomfortable because you'll never know everything. Ever.
Exactly. That's it. Like, you never know. Sometimes this kind of leads me to the next point is imposter syndrome. I think I've read this on during a I heard I listened to a TED talk on my way to work, and that's what it was about. It was about having that imposter syndrome and just walking in and acting like you know everything, and that's okay. Just have the confidence, continue to listen, hence continue to learn, and then you'll be more comfortable making that decision on the long run.
That's right. And sometimes it's, I mean, if we're going to go into imposter syndrome, I think that's good to go into. It's a topic that can be covered in a whole episode probably. But, I have it all the time. I'm sure Steve has it. I'm sure Sharon, you have it too. But it's like, you have to choose what works for you. And what works for me is just, I just don't, if I start having that feeling, it's just like, let's just save the feeling for tomorrow. I'm like, I felt it. That creeping in feeling that it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I even doing a podcast? Who gives a shit about what I have to say? Is this work product going to be good? Or is the presentation I gave last week, what are they thinking about it? Was that dumb? Was it good? I felt good about it last week, but now I go, okay, I want like tomorrow, Jake, to answer these questions. So that's great that you have all these feelings coming in. Let's just set them aside for now. And then tomorrow, Jake's going to deal with that. And then so you get to tomorrow and you're all refreshed and you feel good and you're like, yes, the podcast is awesome. I'm doing great work. And then the questions just fall off. Yes. So I've never had them come back again, like consecutively, right? So I don't know how I found that. It works for me. I just say, you know what? Shelf it. We'll deal with it tomorrow. And then tomorrow they're gone. So I don't know. That's kind of how I do it. It's probably weird hearing that, but that's what goes on in here.
Yeah. Yeah, my perspective on imposter syndrome is, I mean, you have that really uncomfortable feeling. Like, am I in the right spot? Am I saying the right things? What are people thinking of my opinion, etc. And it's really uncomfortable. And kind of how, like, this last few months that I've been really harnessing that is like as fuel, is like, okay, if I'm uncomfortable, I know I'm progressing, I'm growing, I'm learning. This is how it feels to be elevating myself. If I'm comfortable and I am 100% confident internally on what I'm doing, I'm not growing at all. And so I harness that uncomfortable feeling of not knowing all the answers. And, yes, you present that confident front and it slips, but, you're skirting that edge of comfort to uncomfortable, and I think that's the best way to grow as a professional and just as a person.
Yeah, so you kind of turn that feeling into something that's good. right? That's a good indicator, not a bad indicator. You're like, oh yeah, okay. I feel this way. That's good because it means I'm doing something that is stretching me a little bit. So that's fine. Let's just monitor it and it's okay. Yeah, I like that. I'll probably use that too.
Yep.
That's a really good point. That feeling uncomfortable. Like I just talked about how hard and it was scary to make that decision, transition from everything being fact-based in engineering world to the PM world, bringing the engineering background, but also being throwing myself in the gray area, is that I am uncomfortable. Hard and scary ultimately means I'm uncomfortable. But you're right. Take that as a positive indicator. You're being challenged. If you're uncomfortable, you are being challenged. I mean, remember going from middle school to high school. Remember from high school to college and applying for your first internship, first job, going through that application process and never really no one has taught me. I don't know if you both have been taught handheld by whoever, like a mentor or parents, say this is where you go to apply for your job. You never had that. So it was uncomfortable. Really. Yeah, exactly.
Not until we got into our professions. Now we have mentors. Now we have coaches. It's the right thing to do.
Right. But back then you didn't, and you were very, very uncomfortable about it. And that means that you were challenged. And because you're challenged, now you have grown. I don't think all three of us can say we're not where we are. You two are in the managerial role, managing headcounts. I've yet to manage a headcount. However, I have the manager in the title because I'm managing a product and all the things that go around it. All three of us didn't get here not feeling uncomfortable. We all felt uncomfortable to get to where we are. And a lot of that comes from like all the three factors that we just talked about, like decision making, feeling uncomfortable, feeling scared, learning something new, doing something new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to clarify, I'm not a manager.
No.
I just do it anyway because I want people to grow and to be awesome and to have the most, learning opportunities and ability to advance their career. So I just do that at work. I'm not in any sort of org position to manage anyone. I'm just a senior engineer. That's it. So yeah, Steve's the manager. All right.
But Jake, do you mentor?
Yeah, of course.
Do you coach? Yeah, there you go then. Then you have people coming to you and asking you for help. But how do you do that if you don't know? Oh, Jake doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. Why would anybody go to you? Because you know something, because you've learned.
Yeah,
go
first
ahead.
I trick them into liking me, right? And then they go, okay, this guy's really easy to talk to. And then I say, if you ever need anything, you come see me. I know some things. Oh, okay, cool. And then it just develops from there, right? So soon you kind of prove that you do know stuff. And the things that they're doing is like, oh, wow, this really is helping. It's like, yeah, I know. Told you. So then you gain the credit or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Before I lose it, one thing I didn't want to say is back to, you were saying like from middle school to high school, from high school to college, from college to, maybe getting your first job, whatever it is. All those steps are really scary, but could you imagine if you had just stayed in high school? So freshman year, you're scared. You're trying to you don't know what's going on. Sophomore, you feel a little better. Junior, you're rolling. You're like, okay, I'm friends with the seniors and all. And then senior, you're like, I'm at the top. Don't ever stay at the top. Yeah. Could you imagine if you just stayed at senior high school level and that's what you did? You didn't I'm not going to go to college. I'm at the top here and I'm comfy. Mm-hmm. That's very bad. So if you start feeling super comfy at your job, it's an indicator that you need to get uncomfy.
You need to set new
I need
goals.
to start doing things and reaching out to people and trying to get extra tasks or thinking about, hey, let's figure out what the director of sales thinks about. So I want to start talking to him. Mm-hmm. And then, inevitably he'll give you an assignment and then you go, oh, shit, I shouldn't have said anything because now I have this assignment to do something I know nothing about.
Right back to
imposter syndrome. Then that's the uncomfortability that you want to be in.
Yes.
And then you work through that with their guidance to get something out. And then you've learned a new thing and you're uncomfortable with it. But then you'll get comfortable with that. And as soon as you're comfy, you go, okay, I got to go talk to the director of engineering. What does he worry about? And what can I help him with? Then you're uncomfortable again. So just keep doing that. That's the fastest way to gain some huge experience.
Yes.
Yep. So, I did want to kind of, before we run out of time, I did want to circle back and discuss how you got to engineering. What was the decision-making process for you? You can go back as far as you want, tell the story of how you became an engineer, why you decided to go to school for that mechanical engineering degree, all that good stuff. I think it's really good to know someone's story.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. Go ahead, Steve.
especially as a female, there's not a whole lot of percentage wise,
Oh, yep. Yep.
engineers as females, and so we really want to encourage any female listening to really understand your story and what clicked for you.
Oh,
Yeah, so
of
make
course.
it really inspirational, would you?
Of course, yeah, all the pressure.
Now.
Coming back to all this pressure again. But and then I started off this podcast saying that I didn't know when I went to college of what I really wanted to do. I knew I liked math and science, and I wanted to go somewhere where I can apply those math and science skills or what I'd like to do into a major that can ultimately lead me to landing a job, because that was the goal coming out of college, is to land a job. But if I take myself back to when I was 6, I remember my Christmas lights were broken, and my mother. Right, it's very important. I mean, it wasn't that Christmas lights, and it was about 5 feet tall. It wasn't that tall, but it's like the lights were broken. I remember I got it when I was 5, and the next year we're putting it back up again, and the lights weren't working. So I opened up the little box where all the electrical system was flowing, and then I still remember sitting there for an hour and fixing it. And I ran to my mom and said, "Mom, I fixed it." It's like, how did you do that? And then
awesome.
I just like being hands-on. I just always like to see things that are physical, like physically being able to hold and see and understand. And that everything just kind of clicked all together. And of course, the classes were really hard. It's like, why am I doing this? Is this really worth it? Like, am I really going to take everything that I learned in school and take it somewhere? But I said, you know what? I've done it. I've gone into it. Let me finish it off. So that's when I just got through the entire degree plan and then just finished it. And throughout that college years, I went through internships, and I still again got those affirmations that I like working with engineering team. I love working with engineers. I like seeing the result of what they built on in their software, in their 3D software. In my case, it was SolidWorks and Creo PTC that they have used, that I have used, and then seeing it actually come to fruition. But again, it went back to, I really don't like sitting behind a desk. I like seeing the result. I like understanding how this all happened. But I can't just sit here and then change every single little dimensions to make something work. I just want to see it happen, and I want to understand how this gets taken to the next level. Where is this going? Like, what am I doing with this? How is this impacting any other person, or who are even the customers? Where are we selling this to? Why are we making? Exactly. Why are we making? Give me the reason. But for some reason, one, I didn't know that was the right question to even ask. Being an intern, just being told to just do that one thing, and then two, nobody really explained that to me. Until I got to my third internship, which was in that oil and gas that led me to a full-time job, when I had the broader scope of engineering, supply chain, manufacturing, quality, is when I saw, like, okay, so this is how the product is flowing. I really like this. I like that I can understand the technical background, because some people, they just don't care. They're like, okay, yeah, sure, that works. Okay, engineers, you got it. I trust you. But for me, I want to understand. Explain me every single detail. And I think that's still a characteristic I carried over getting that engineering degree and being an engineer, is that I want to know every single detail. And I still notice some of the engineering managers or senior engineers or engineers come and say, you might not want to know this, or sorry, is this too much information? And I look at them, I was like, why are you apologizing? Don't apologize.
Give it to me.
Give it to me. Tell me. Like, tell me everything. Tell me. I want to know. I want to know what you did. I think it's really amazing and cool that you have made this happen. Explain it to me. And then let me take this to the next level, because that is my job and that's what I want to do. I want to make sure what you have done comes to a beginning, or I would say beginning of product launch, or end to the project, I would say. So that's how I guess I progress from being young 6-year-old all the way to where I'm at now. And going back to Steve, what you mentioned about being a female in engineering, I still remember it was a junior level class. So that's when in the freshman sophomore year, there are a lot of kids who start off, wants to try it out, and by the time you get to the junior level class, a lot of students just fall off. They realize this is not for them. And when I went into that classroom, it was about 40 kids. I think I was one of the two females, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of walked back out and looked at the classroom number to see if this is the right classroom, because I was just thinking, oh my goodness, am I the that's I see one other female. Am I the only one? And I was like, well, whatever. Just get used to it. And I just walked right in. You're right. There are not a lot of females.
Yeah.
They're really at the about 10 females that were in the same grade level as I am. I knew them by name. I knew them by face. That's how small of a quantity or number that we were.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say it wasn't too difficult being a female, like nothing harsh by any means, but I could see that it can throw some females off coming into the engineering world, knowing that you are the minority. But
Mm-hmm.
know that it's okay. I mean, it really didn't, it never really stopped me. Don't be discouraged because you're a female and you can, I mean, it'll be okay. Like, you will get along with everybody just fine.
Yeah.
I didn't personally have any issues being one.
Yeah, just don't let that, don't let being one of the few, like, create
Scare
that
you.
kind of judgment environment. Don't
Yeah.
let it, don't let it discourage you from that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
see what
Right.
you're saying.
especially
Yep.
in engineering. I mean, it's all that matters is what's up here.
Right.
Like what's behind the cranium under the dome. That's
And
what
yeah,
actually matters.
that's right. And what
So
attitude do you bring? That's it. That's all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just be optimistic, willing to learn, and yeah, you'll go. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's
Right.
awesome. And
Right.
I had a specific question about your oil and gas experience, I guess.
Mhm.
So it was an internship, right?
Right.
And you were saying that until you got to that internship, you didn't really have the exposure to why are we doing all of this stuff.
Mhm.
Was it the company itself that presented that information to you and gave you that opportunity, or was it you learned to ask the questions? Was it a specific person that kind of grabbed you and said, "Hey, I want to teach you some cool stuff"? For someone that is going to be doing some co-ops as part of their curriculum or doing internships, is there something that they should know maybe to ask the questions or what they should do to put themselves in a position to learn that stuff?
You said it. It was a person. It was a person or specific people. You
Mm-hmm.
can call them mentors. They were managers by title, but they're mentors and coaches who just plucked me out and said, "Okay, you have engineering degree. Okay, you've done some engineering. Come on, come. I'll show you supply chain." And first of all, I didn't even know what supply chain was. I was like, sourcing? What source? What? What is procurement? I don't know what you're talking about. But he just said,
Right.
"Okay, you seem like you're doing really well in the engineering. Come on, let me show you about supply chain. Like, this is the product that you're actually gonna make sure the materials come in. They're set up in the system." It's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And he goes,
Ooh.
"It's okay. It will make sense." So he
Yeah.
did a bottom up approach instead of top down approach. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
show me the big picture. He showed me all the small details. And then he just gave me the affirmation, "Hey, it's gonna make sense later. The puzzles will all come together." So it was
Mm-hmm.
a person. It was a person who showed me the way and threw me into a different role than what I applied for. And he was the coach in that sense. And I also had an engineering manager who mentored all the interns, and he listened. Going back to the listening, being a good manager, he listened. He listened
Mm-hmm.
what each individual interns wanted. It's like, what do you want to do? And then he had a great relationship with everybody within the company, all the leaders within the company, and asked them, like, do you have certain project that can meet their needs? And then fetch projects for them and then have them work on it. If they didn't like it, try it, finish it, and then go try something else within the company.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, right. That's
I
the
had
only way.
I had a feeling that you were going to say it was a person. And what I want to tie this into with the listeners as well, if they're applying for co-ops and stuff like that, there's all different levels of transparency when you're trying to find a co-op. It's completely listed on the company's website. They had a great section that says, co-ops, go here and read about our company and what we do for you. That's like the best case scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them just say, yeah, we provide co-ops and we're on the list, so apply. There's some that don't say anything. So depending on, or maybe you're just trying to get one and you're late and you're like, I just need to get one. But anyway, try to put yourself in a position to where you know ahead of time what the reputation of the co-op system is at that company. And what's great about today is you can get on LinkedIn, right? And if you've been networking, you will know staff and engineers and other people from these companies. You've connected, you've engaged, the lanes of communication are kind of open a little bit, and then you can ask them, hey, what's the co-op stuff like? Like, when I come in, what will I be doing? And if you get a really good response, like something like, yeah, so I really love co-ops. When someone comes in, I grab them, I start teaching them everything I know. I want to show them what the engineering industry is like in my field, so that they have options when they go back to school, and they could say, no, that was crap. I hate MEP industry. That would be the worst place for me to land. That's great information for them to know, right? So, but if you just bring them in and it's like, hey, draft some stuff in this CAD and then go get me some coffee, and then, just do that a million times, and don't bother me too much. Just, kind of do assignments for people at random. That's like the worst, experience you can have, and you learn nothing about what MEP engineering is as a whole, right? So try to vet out your co-ops like that. Ask the right questions, get the responses, and get a good feeling. So it's not always available, of course. And getting some experience is better than no experience. But try to put yourself in a good position before you go.
Even if you don't ultimately go in with one company, but you got good responses, you now have a good connection that you can reach out to in the future, right. and ask about that industry. Maybe you go through a different co-op for that year. The following year, you can go back to that other contact that reached out, and maybe there's a new open slot for that following year. Or, you graduate and you had a really good vibe coming from that company. You can see if they have any open spots for new engineers. So, it's maintaining those connections and network is really important. And you're just sampling, the industries out there.
Yep, and I don't want to take too much time, and we don't get to our questions, Steve. Mm-hmm. So
yes.
I know we had some questions, and I know the one that I like to ask. I know the one you like to ask. You go for it, and you go first.
Okay, yeah. So we do like wrapping these up with a couple standard questions. One of them being is where is Sharon in 5 to 10 years? Like where do you see yourself in your career, in life in general?
So I want to thrive in doing what I do right now, meaning I want to be able to say, just like the way engineers say that I've designed this, I own this, I have a patent on this product. I want to be able to say that product that has launched have generated X amount of dollars. And I've worked with these teams here, and we have made that happen. And I want to be continuing to do that. I want to make sure I can say that we as a team have made that happen. And look at how much money we're making for the company. And get the acknowledgement, not just for myself, but for everybody. That's one. And another is that, as Jake just asked, about what enabled you to ask all these specific questions and got you into this role and got you not away, but expand even further from engineering to all these different areas and functional teams, it was the person. It was a coach. It was a mentor. I want to do the same thing within the 5 to 10 year period. I want to be able to coach. I want to be able to mentor an individual groups of people. It doesn't mean that I have to have headcounts. I mean, that may come with added stress with having to manage individuals, actually. Right. But the mentoring and coaching portion, I did not realize how much I like doing it until I started doing it recently. And I was fortunate to have that. Even to this day, when I go through some struggles in my job, I have a handful of mentors located actually throughout the world. I've one in Scotland, I've one in Portland, Oregon, I've one in Dallas, Texas. I mean, I can pick up the call and ask them, it's like, hey, I'm struggling. Can you just talk to me about it? And that feeling, being able to have a person that I can talk to who have more knowledge, who have more experience in the field, I want to do the same thing. I want to give back. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even have thought about this. Right. Then if I didn't have them, if I had Jake, you mentioned during the beginning of the call about this manager's like, no, and just complete disregarded someone's opinion. If I had a boss like that, I wouldn't be saying this right now.
Right. But it was pretty funny. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good that I didn't blow up.
Yeah. now you've mentored even more with the show, and you've reached hopefully at least one person, if
I
not
hope so.
dozens. So you're already reaching that goal.
I hope so.
That's
hope
kind of
so.
that's why we started the podcast. So it's
Exactly.
amazing.
So
So
what's the next question?
my question is always about practical execution.
Of course.
That's what I'm big on. Is just do it. So one thing, I guess, what's even for the senior engineer listening, or for the the undergraduate listening that's going to be entering the workforce soon, what's the one thing that they can kind of start doing today that's relatively easy to take the first few steps towards figuring? I don't want to paint you into a corner, but maybe we'll just say advancing their career. What's the one thing that they can do?
Is this targeted for the ones in college or ones in the industry already?
You can choose one.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
Who do you want to
ones.
make the most impact on right now? On the
Well,
impactful engineering shelf.
okay, so let me try my best to separate them. So the ones in college who are trying to land an internship or trying to land a job, I know everybody says you need to network, but it can be slightly frightening. It's like, where do I start? Who do I go to? Do I reach somebody random on LinkedIn? Do I reach out to Steve? Oh well, he's all the way in Texas, Dallas, Texas. Let me just send him a message on LinkedIn and see if he has open position as one of his engineers. If that can be slightly frightening. What you can do is maybe just talk to a professor. Professors tend to know more individuals in the industry. Talk to a professor or talk to a classmate. Start from there. It's like, hey, I'm looking for an internship. Have you done an internship before? Do you know someone? And many times I've also even noticed that my colleague's parent works in an engineering firm or engineering industry. And it's what I'm trying to get to is it's all about just talking to someone you already know of. You don't have to think so big and frighten yourself and like I have to reach out to somebody in a president or CEO level that I find on LinkedIn. Well, that person probably gets bombarded with multiple emails and multiple messages. So start from somebody next to you. You know more than you think you know.
Yep.
You really do. So talk to somebody next to you. Talk to a professor. Talk to, I mean, maybe you're part of a research group within the university. Talk to a colleague who are a fellow researcher. I mean, really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter where you start, but start somewhere. And then you'll
That's amazing.
quickly realize that you're not that frightened, and it is not that frightening. So that's what I would say to somebody who's just starting out their career.
Yeah.
Now, for those in the engineering world already, and they love doing that, well, for them to get to the next level into a senior engineering role or even a managerial role is listening but understanding what other people do. I know I've kind of focused on product management, saying that to get myself out of engineering role or use the engineering background and grow my career into product management, I had to talk to a lot of different leaders in different functional teams. Well, same thing slightly, maybe a little less, but almost the same applies to to any engineers, is that they need to understand what other teams do as well. Because when you're in the upper level role or when you're in the manager role, you are thrown into meetings where you sit with other managers in different teams. And the way you are going to progress in that roundtable meeting or just talking to other leaders is by understanding them. So go to them, go talk to them, ask them questions, and try to get a bigger scope of what the company's trying to do. Because it doesn't matter if you're trying to stay in the engineering role or try to switch career. It applies to both. Switch career and switch to a different team. It doesn't matter. You have to understand what everybody else is doing to have the other people come and work with you.
That's awesome. I'm super stoked about those answers because it's something that I preach all the time. And it's, I did learn it relatively recently, but I've been doing it for so long. You just kind of learn the terms like, oh, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Proximity is power, right? And with the networking thing for the younger engineers and the students, and the figuring out what other people are thinking about and doing to up your game and become part of the conversation, it's all about how close you are to those people, right? And so realizing that you have a network already.
Yes.
You don't. So you're a student. You're like, I don't have a network. Yeah, you do.
You
You've got parents, your friends, your uncles, your extended family, your
all your
brothers,
classmates.
Students in the class, societies that you can sign up for free at school, professors, all that stuff. You're close to all those people. Go to the people that you're close to and have access to immediately and start asking questions. That's amazing. And then when you're in the company for a couple years, or even if you're within your first year, start trying to gain access to the people that you're now close to, in proximity to, and start figuring out what they worry about. That's amazing. So
yeah,
love that. Love those answers.
That's a fantastic answer.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Very good.
Hope that was helpful for those who are going through what I've been through, what I still am going through, is how do we make ourselves to the next level? And it really is just asking. Just continue to ask, continue to approach. And it's honestly what I'm saying right now is a reminder for myself as well, is that I know more than I think I know, and I know I have more than I think I have.
That's awesome. Well, we've been going on for an hour. It's a great conversation. I wish we could stick around forever. I have so much more to say, but thank you, Sharon, for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. It's awesome. I'm sure as more people listen to this, they're going to get more value out of it. And and if you do, I hope that you can share the show, leave ratings. That's the only way to grow the show. People don't just go on to Spotify and just start searching down the ranks. So bring us to the top, baby.
Yep.
If you think it's gonna help somebody, do that. And thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. And before we sign off here, where can people follow you on social media? Like LinkedIn, Instagram, any of those?
Right. LinkedIn will be a great place to start. A lot of people sometimes message me. I'm good for them for jobs that they're looking for at the company that I'm in. They might just send me a message, and I try my best to respond back. So if they have any questions, they can always LinkedIn, and I can hop on calls, hop on videos. I mean, just the things that I'm getting from my mentors, I'll love to do the same.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds great. All right. Well, we do appreciate you hopping on the show, and until next time.
Hey guys, I hope you had a great time listening. Maybe you learned something new, maybe you got inspired, or at least took one thing away that you'd be able to use. Maybe you just had a good laugh. Impactful Engineering's hope and mission is that through this podcast, we can play a small part in expanding the reach and awareness of engineering and all of its many areas of application. The multiple engineering career paths available can be hugely rewarding as part of a fulfilled life, creating opportunity to impact nearly everyone in the modern world. An engineer's work helps to foster creation of new technologies, create safe and comfortable environments in which people can work, and lends to the sustainable future of everyone on the planet. The world needs more impactful engineers. Our vision is to provide engineers with the perspective and the tools to allow themselves the opportunity to become the most impactful engineers they can be. Included in our vision is to grow the impactful engineering community to a point where we can provide full ride scholarships to students in every single U.S. state every single year. This is an enormous goal, and with your help, we can get there. To start, we will continue to execute this mission in the way that we know how, having conversations, telling stories, and talking about what we find interesting and are passionate about. If the episode made you think, made you object, made you think you could possibly be doing something more with your day, or brought about an idea that you could spend more time on developing further, please share the show or recommend it to your friends. Even if you didn't personally think it was a huge help, there may be someone that you know that could benefit from it, and that's all we can ask for. Until next time on the Impactful Engineer Podcast.